Well, hello there. I'm Paul Boserman at Old Anvil Speed Shop, and I'm going to introduce you to one of our latest builds. It's probably the most extensive metalwork build we've had here. It's a 1963 International C1100. It's the middle size truck. They had 3 different length beds on these trucks. The C series was from 1959, 60 up through 1968, I believe. This is a 1963. The grill was curved in it. That was one of the unique things about this year. And the owner of this truck was born in 1963, so he wants this particular truck. He also is a big farmer, so the International truck was a staple in his life, and just is very fond of them. So we decided to build this truck for him. He originally had it in his head that he wanted to chop top and to extend the cab to make it longer. He had some renderings that he brought along, and Jeff took and made those a little bit better and fixed some things. And after a lot of debate back and forth, we now are to this point. And let me go through and show you some of the metalwork we've done. So to start, we had a later model year truck, and we took and have made a 63 grill fit into it. The truck originally had a straight bar here. So we've added the 63, so we've made this part. We've actually grafted the fender in the front cowl here. We've grafted all that together so that it's all one piece. And we eliminated the hole here. It had a kind of an ugly looking signal light, so we've gotten rid of that. And we've recessed the grill back in further, so it did protrude quite a bit. It just didn't look quite right. So we're also going to do some cosmetic things on it later, probably black out these bars and give it more of an industrial look to it. Going inside, we're currently making new inner fenders. We've built an entirely new chassis for this. It definitely sits a lot lower than stock. We're running 22s front and rear, and so we built a full air ride chassis for it. So now we're doing the sheet metal work on the inner fenders. They follow a similar pattern to the original, but we're going to put some ribs in it through here. Just keep it nice and clean. Jeff came up with the idea of the hood on these things. There's an opening that comes across the front. So we're going to call this the air harvester, and build a scoop that comes around, and it'll come across the front. We'll come over to an air box, and it'll have the filter inside of that. We come out of that air box, and it'll turn and it'll come back up to the throttle body, and then we're going to machine a billet elbow in the back. We've mocked it up as a 3D printed part. So we could change the firewall and get all that to fit. We took and smoothed out the firewall, of course. We've got a set of billet hinges that we've machined. We'll show those in another video. And then cleaned up all the cowl. We got rid of the vent that was in here, windshield wipers. And then moving around to the side, the original truck had kind of a dog leg here and came back, the A-pillar was back here. So we took and moved the windshield pillar forward, got rid of that dog leg. There was also a dog leg in the fender. The fender used to come up here on the side and cut back. So we actually made it part of the cowl now. And so this fender line's straight. By laying this windshield pillar back, we got a nice sloped windshield, which also aided us in chopping the top. So we chopped the top 2 inches. Actually, there's an article out in Classic Truck Performance magazine where we chopped the top and showed how we did that. Brandon, one of our talented fabricators, he made an entirely new drip rail around here. Then on top of chopping it, we also lengthened the cab 4 inches, which gave us a lot of leg room. Now we can actually sit down in it further and stretch your legs out. Steering wheel comes back to you. It's almost like driving a race car. But you don't really notice that it looks more like kind of like a C10 cab. It definitely lengthened it out. It just looks proper. Moving back from there, Jeff just came up with this cool step. We took the step out of it. It was a really weird detail there before. So he came up with these, and we're gonna actually probably put an air vent in here somewhere, because we have coolers on both sides, one for the transmission and one for the intercooler. We have a liquid cooled intercooler on the supercharger, and so that's where those vents will be. Then also, he's got this cool little detail here. There was such a big gap that we closed up the gap, remade this front portion of the bed. This end still has to be capped, but there's also just a slight curve here in the front, and this comes to a sharp corner now and fits much nicer than the stock did. If you want to check it out, we have a video on building all of this. It was quite complex. Brandon did an excellent job on that. And Jeff knocked it out of the park on the design. And then moving back from there, these are the original step side fenders, but they're quite modified. We took a set of front fenders and have grafted those in to get this design. Originally they were it was a weird, just simple cutout, and it had a line through here, and they just didn't match anything else on the truck. They had been using that fender for years. So we did the nice sweeping curve to match the front. Then on the inside of the bed, we took an extra set of step side fenders, and because of the rear tires are fairly large, they're I think 335, 20, 335.
1 hour later.
335, 30, 22. I think that's right. But so we use these outside part of the fender to graft it into the inside. And then we've got a real nice, Bedwood's gonna make us their carbon series wood for the bed, so it'll be a nice black board. And then we have our lift, so the bed will come up, and we machine hinges for it. This is all our new system. There'll be some stuff coming out very shortly on that as well. For the rear and the tailgate, we're actually building an entire new tailgate. It's going to kind of incorporate some of this original stuff. So we've already trimmed this off some. It has like this fin on the back where the tailgate came up inside of that. So we're actually going to encapsulate that now, and the new tailgate will go around that. We'll continue this top edge of the bed. We'll continue a nice radius around here, and that shape will continue all the way across for the tailgate. Then we'll double panel the tailgate instead of like the original. We'll match all the design like it's in the front panel and the sides. We'll match that in the back of the tailgate. And in the very back, we've got a nice billet badge we're making that'll match the one in the grill, only a little bit bigger. And then Jeff came up with using a fleet side taillight lens, and we have built a bucket all around that, and then we'll have this nice roll pan with exhaust coming out the back. We're running 3-inch exhaust on this to make it breathe. So he's got some renderings for a really nice tail pan. We built a custom chassis for this truck. It's independent front. We built all of our own control arms, all our suspension geometry. We use a Detroit Speed power rack. Willwood Pro spindles. It has 14-inch Willwood brakes. Frame rails are 3x6 tubing. 3/16 wall, so it's super stiff. We didn't want this truck bed moving from the cab since we tightened the gaps up so much. The rear end is a strange housing that we put together ourselves. We do our own tubes and all that to get the width right that we want. And so we can install our brackets for the air ride. For rear gear, we're running a strange aluminum center section with 31 spline axles. We use Dutchman axles on those, and we got 14-inch Willwood brakes out back as well. We're running an airlift 3H3P controls for the air ride to control the height. In the rear, we're running a dual battery system, as well as our fabricated stainless steel fuel tank. You know, this truck is just unbelievable. I can't wait to get in this thing and drive it and see the look on the customer's face when he picks it up. The amount of metalwork that he talked about originally just blew my mind that he wanted to do this to an international truck. So I really think this is going to be one of the nicest international trucks on the planet. I'm so happy to have this opportunity to build this truck and can't wait to show it off to everybody. So keep looking out for all our videos on the build, and look forward to seeing you there.